the administration has looked at semiconductors in particular as one area, to apply tariffs. Where do you think the biggest vulnerabilities are?
I mean, we had the chart up earlier. We saw Netflix going up. I mean, these are companies that basically gave up on China. So they're not really exposed, and they're sort of seeing sort of the bump up from that. But I think there's a bigger picture to look at, which is, retaliation doesn't have to come in the form of tariffs. It could come in the form of bureaucracy, right? So, if Netflix wants to get into China by investing in a Chinese company, we saw Google invest in JD.com, which is an Alibaba competitor. Beijing could say, what, we don't like that deal. We need to sort of figure out a way that, to put that on ice. That's another way these things could happen. And it's not just China. I mean, with the EU, with Canada, with Mexico even, there's all these other areas that Facebook, Google, they're trying to grow. And if they can't grow in these other areas because there is just this sort of geopolitical kind of mess going on, it's just going to be harder to get visibility in what they can do in the next quarter out.
And Romit, so as the analyst here, you're looking through all these companies. Are you marking them down for this, or how does that work?
Not really. I mean, I believe that China needs U.S. semiconductors. They have this 2025 plan to be the leader in 5G, autonomous driving, artificial intelligence. They're not going to get there without chips from Intel, GPUs from NVIDIA, and special equipment tools from companies like Applied Materials. So I'm hopeful, I think the industry is hopeful that this will blow over, because at least from a component standpoint, as it relates to semiconductors, it does seem like the U.S. has an upper hand.
And, even beyond the sort of tit for tat on a product line basis and the fears of a generalized trade slowdown, there's this carrot that's been dangled out there about somehow acknowledging or having China acknowledge intellectual property theft, maybe trying to be a little more careful and play by the rules in that area. Obviously, tech companies would love to see that. But what form might that even take? I mean, is it just going to be, we're going to stop demanding that you do a joint venture. We're going to stop kind of demanding work process IP. They're not going to be paying back license fees, though, for whatever technology they have in hand.
The license fees, but also sort of the media sort of piracy that's happened in China for decades at this point. A lot of that stuff, I don't know that you can put the genie back in the bottle on that one. There are definitely concessions that U.S. could try to wring out of these situations, but it's been so murky for so long. Even companies like Apple that, they develop everything, all the parts, supply chain, a big part of it comes from China. You could see bureaucratic retaliation, as I said earlier, about having these things come through or not. So I think that's another factor that hasn't really been explored, that the calculus around trade is much more complicated than simply you tax me this, I'm going to tax you that.
Romit, we got to go, but do you think companies like Apple or Intel will move operations out of China?
I don't think so. I mean, Intel has worked extremely well with China for decades, and they have one assembly and test facility. They have a memory facility there. China is a very important market for them. A lot of PCs are consumed in China. It's a key area for them if they want to grow. So I believe that I believe that Intel will continue to work very closely with China.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.